What's up guys, it's time for another FM virtual stadium tour, and today I am at Anfield taking a virtual tour for you guys, and I'm afraid this is going to be a little bit of a short one because it seems the game's designers were a little bit lazy and made 3/4 of the stadium exactly the same thing, which is a little bit boring and predictable. But anyway, that means you're going to be looking at this stand for the most of it, which is just a little bit different, but it's enough for you to look at. It's their facing grandstand. But anyway, my first fact for you, as always, is that this stadium was opened in 1884. Anfield, the home of Liverpool Football Club, if I haven't already said that. But when it was first opened, it was initially rented out by Everton, Liverpool's rivals. But they left the stadium a few years after beginning to rent it out. They were there for about 20-30 years, and then there was an issue, a dispute over the rent, and they decided to leave and go to their own stadium, which at the time was called Main Road or something like that. But anyway, then Liverpool walked in and said, this is going to be our stadium for a long time now, and so it's where they are today still. Various parts of it, as with a lot of English stadiums, have been rebuilt and seats have been put in and the capacity's been lowered since disasters happened, like at Hillsborough and like at Bradford. And I know Bradford wasn't technically a people standing up and being crushed problem, but people standing up and not having seats had something to do with it. Had something to do with the Bradford fire anyway. But it has a current capacity, this stadium, of 45,000 seats. So it's not small, put it that way. I happen to know that in real life this stadium doesn't really have corners. It just has 4 square stands which are wider than the pitch, which means they kind of run into each other, but they make sure very cleverly that everybody can see who has a seat in the stadium, and it's just square really. There's no curves in it at all, and it's quite interesting. If you just take a while to go and look at a picture of a corner or something, it's really interesting how they do it, but I can't show you that here because it's not part of this game, obviously. I don't really have much else to say about Anfield except for more recent times when George Gillett and Tom Hicks, I think it was Hicks, owned the club. They looked into moving to, what was it, Salford Park, and building a stadium there. And at the time I found it rather amusing because the Emirates had just opened, Arsenal's new stadium, and it held 60,000 people, and pretty much 3 to 6 months later Tom Hicks and George Gillett came out and said, this is our plans for the new Liverpool stadium. It's going to hold 65,000 people. And so in my mind at the time, that was just Liverpool going, okay Arsenal, you've played this card, we're going to raise you this card. And it was really, really amusing for me at the time, and I don't really know why looking back at it now. But anyway, that happened, and if you go and look for the pictures of it, it looked really interesting. Liverpool have the Cop, which is a really tightly packed in stand. Even with seats, they still squash the people in as tight as they can because it gets you a real good atmosphere. And it had a new Cop, the new stand, and it looked really interesting. And it had a whole corner just made out of glass, so that people from outside could look in. I'm not quite sure what the thinking was behind that, but it looked really interesting. And the new owner, I think it's someone like John Warner, I know I'm getting the name wrong, but the new owner wants to stay at Anfield a bit longer and wants to try and expand Anfield out. So the sort of look from the club towards getting a bigger capacity has changed over the last few years. But it'd still be interesting to see in the next few years how they expand, how they look to get more people watching their games, because it seems nowadays it's a real golden era for stadiums being expanded and stuff. So thanks for watching guys. I'm sorry this is a bit of a short video, but I didn't realise how boring this stadium was until I logged in and played as Liverpool and saw that it was 3/4 just the same thing. So, you know, but I'm sure there'll be Liverpool fans on there saying, well, that's what it is pretty much in real life. But, you know, anyway, thanks for watching. Please check out our Facebook page and our Twitter accounts, and we have our own website now. I'll put the links in the description. See ya!